Hi there, it's Psychic Cynthia here, Spiritual Psychic Cynthia Killian, and welcome. This is a Psychic Herbalism fairy garden related video, and I'm here with my friend Basil. I know it probably doesn't look like a basil anymore because I've been harvesting, taking off leaves this morning. I have about a cup here. This is a packed cup of basil leaves. And listen, a few months ago I did a video about all about the magical qualities of basil, and there are a lot actually. In addition to its wonderful culinary abilities, and also I talked about how you could easily propagate it. So I got a lot of basil plants off my two plants, well basically the one, and I'll put a link to that video if you want to learn more about that. But this is a follow-up, and I'm really doing this because I'm harvesting, and I want to show you a technique where you can get even more mileage out of your basil. This works very well with basil. I don't know if it'll work well with other herbs. It maybe could, but I know it works very well with basil. And you know, Venus is in retrograde as I'm filming this video, and basil is a really cool herb for when Venus is in retrograde, because when it's in retrograde, when Venus is in retrograde, we tend to well, Venus retrograde puts a lot of weight on our feelings about our finances and our money and also our relationships. And the cool thing about basil, it's one of those plants that is said to attract money. And even if it doesn't do that per se, and I think it can, and there's all these, you know, little rituals around how you might use it, but I find that for myself, following my own intuition and my own creative spirit, leads me to create the rituals and ceremonies that work best for me. So I'm not going to go into, okay, I'll just say one thing. You can hang it over your door, they say, or put it near a cash register or wherever you take your money. If it's online, you want it by your computer or your phone or your pad or however you do that. So there's a little tip, okay? But really, come up with your own ways to utilize basil magically. It's usually dried when we utilize it or made into a tea magically. But yes, this is a great herb for Venus in retrograde because it's supposed to help us attract money. And I think that one thing it really does is, how I think that works in my experience, is that just smelling basil, for example, especially fresh basil, it really opens up your higher chakras and your heart as well. And it opens up the pathways of innovation and creativity to help you come up with new ideas for how you might attract money or clients, or, you know, and also helps you to see things differently. Like sometimes we feel down on our finances when they're really not that bad. And so basil can help with that too. So, you know, it really can help elevate the feeling energies around the financial realm. And, you know, money is an energy currency. Do you know that? Have you thought of that? It's an energy currency. And you know, that means it's going to respond to your energy currency that you're offering. And what I'm saying here is that basil can improve your offering of energy that might then attract more money to you, or at least help you to appreciate what you do have and maybe utilize it in a more wise way. So, yeah, I think basil is just one of those herbs that really, even when we just eat it and we make pesto out of it or put it on our pizzas or pastas or in a salad, basil helps us to embrace that joy of life, that lush feeling of abundance. So it's very good for that. And the flowers, which there's a few on here, I'm working on taking those off too. I need to do that. I forgot that. The flowers, when made into an essence, are said to help couples in their communication. So that's a relationship orientated energy. And yes, again, we might need that during Venus in retrograde. So what I've done here, it looks like I need to still work with the flowers. But I have taken off most of the leaves. You'll notice there's some down here, and I'm going to show you why in a minute, because this relates to how you can get the most mileage out of your basil. And I've taken off most of the leaves. I do use the flowers too often in my pestos and things like that, or even just in my salads. But, you know, you don't have to utilize those if you don't want to. You know, you can get seeds out of here. There are seeds up in these flowers. So this, probably just this alone, this one branch would provide me with enough seeds for a couple years of plants if I wanted to go that route. But I'm not worried about that right now. I have a lot of basil, so, and I also have a lot of basil seed. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut this plant down, and I could go really far down if I wanted. I could go down to here. But I want to leave some green, and maybe you can see, maybe not. There's a little rust on that stem there. So I want to go above kind of where it's gotten the heat rust, and I probably want to go to at least here. But I'm intending, and this is why there's some leaves left, I think I'm intending to go to right here. So I'm going to do this right now, just so you understand what I am talking about with this technique to get the most out of your basil. So hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to cut right here. And I'll probably take the rest of those little leaves off in the flowers here in a moment. So this is what I have, and it's actually a little bit tall compared to the trim I do. But I'm going to leave it because it's late in the growing season. I'm going to let it kick back in so I can get more basil later. Now what's going to happen? Okay, first of all, I'm going to put this in a somewhat shady area. I'm not going to put it back in full sun because it's, every day now for about a week or so, it's gotten up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or over. And that's a lot of heat, especially because I have a lot of my plants on my cement patio, so it's going to be even hotter on the patio in the day. That's a lot of heat on a plant that has just been cut back because there's going to be some trauma. And by the way, I might take a little of my saliva and just rub it on those wounds. And that's giving that plant a little love energy, and will help it to recuperate. So what I'm saying here is I want it to recuperate well, so I'm going to put it in a partly shaded area off of the cement patio. And I have a place like under a little bush tree where I do this, so it gets some filtered light, quite a bit, but not too much. Yeah, set it over into more of a shady area, but not probably complete shade. It might work. Basil does need some light though. Usually basil likes a lot of light. But I'm saying because we've chopped it off, right? And I know this probably looks like, dead, right? It's done. It's not. That's my point. It's not. So what's going to happen, I'm going to put it in the shade, and there's still, about a month and a half of warmer weather left. It won't always be this hot. In a couple weeks it won't be. So I'm going to water this, and it's going to come back, and it's going to grow new leaves. And just to show you what it might look like, and I keep in mind it's in a thinner, smaller pot, here is a plant that I've done this with. And look how nice this looks. Yeah, I cut this sucker all the way down, and it grew all this back. This is a second run basil, and you can see it looks really nice. It'd been a lot bigger, like this big. And generally, if you grow your basils in a wider pot, they will get bushier and more beautiful. And if you pick off the first few flowers, they'll also get bushier. But yeah, so now I have enough of the basil energy, and I have more, by the way. This is, these are just examples. But you can take your basil plants, if you have them right now, and I bet a lot of you do, and harvest the leaves. Leave some green energy left, and let it grow back out. You still have another month or so, at least. And that's what I wanted to film this video about. So I hope that helps you in your co-creative gardening. And of course, always be kind to your plants. Always, talk to them a little, or at least, actually, you don't have to talk out loud because plants are telepathic. You can have the energy in your heart that you are loving on them while you're doing this, and let them know that they're going to have another run, and they really like that. So, and they do like it, the sound of your voice often. They like it when we sing to them too. So perhaps that's another video for another time. Anyway, hope this helps all you green enthusiasts out. Until next time, I'm Psychic Cynthia, sending you many bright blessings.